Hello everyone, we are from Group B and we are going to answer a question on law of conveyancing.
This is Miriam. Miriam is interested in buying a piece of land in Shah Alam, Selangor. She has agreed to pay 20% of the agreed purchase price as the deposit, payable upon signing of the sales and purchase agreement. This is Miriam's first time purchasing a property. She wants to seek an advice from her solicitor for the conveyancing procedures until the title is registered in her name. She is paying by cash to the agreed price of the property, which worth 450,000 ringgit. Next week, Miriam would be representing Malaysia on a joint project for COVID-19 vaccines for a year in China. Therefore, she wants to execute the relevant documents before her departure for China. Advice Miriam.
So, hello miss, how can we help you?
Hi, yes, I would like to purchase a piece of land in Shah Alam. I want to know the conveyancing procedure and also what are the relevant documents that need to be prepared.
Yeah, of course. So, first thing first, before we proceed, may I know your full name according your identification card and your identification number, because this is to ensure that you falls within section 43 of the National Land Code, where you're not being prohibited to be registered proprietor in any property. Because it happens before in the case of Anthony Ting Chiao Peng and Wong Bing Seng, where the solicitor failed to ascertain his client's identity by relying merely on the loss report of the identity card.
My name is Maryam binti Anas, alias Hazman. My IC number is 801213054568.
So basically miss, in the procedure, firstly, of course you need to pay the booking price, or we known as deposit, where usually in practice people will pay 10% of the purchase price for the deposit. In the case of Linggi Plantation Limited against Jagatisan, it stated that paying the deposit more than 10% is valid and enforceable. So basically the deposit will be 90,000 ringgit Malaysia. So that's about the deposit, 90,000 ringgit Malaysia. So to further your intention to buy this land, the next procedure that I need to do is that I will need to gain more knowledge about the land which you intended to purchase. But this procedure, I will contact directly to the vendor solicitor to know more the details about the land. Do you happen to have the copy of the title deed of the land?
Yes, of course. I'll email you the copy. Wait a minute. Okay, done.
Okay miss, I got it. Let me check the title deed first, okay miss? Oh, okay miss, as I can see here, the title deed is still subject to charge, but it's okay. This can be settled with the redemption sum, where I will explain later, no worries. So that's it about the land, it's still subject to charge. However miss, before we proceed with the agreement, I will need to conduct a land search at any relevant authorities to inspect the details about the land and also make necessary inquiries at any relevant authorities to determine whether there are any renovation made or there are any arrears in payment or insolvency stage. Okay, Miss Mariam. I also would like to advise you to inspect the land personally, where this is to avoid any unpleasant surprise. So we proceed after I've settled all that and you've done the land search. I shall then construct the sale and purchase agreement between you and the current proprietor. In this agreement will contain the terms and conditions for your purchase of the land, and also the terms and conditions will benefit both you and also the proprietor. And as you may know, upon the signing of the agreement, the sale and purchase agreement, you will need to pay the deposit of the 20%.
Okay, that's it?
Well, no miss, there are also a few other documents that you will need to execute and sign, which are firstly the memorandum of transfer under form 14A and also the entry of private caveat under form 19B, together with the form 19G for the withdrawal of the private caveat. And the documents also include the real property gain tax under forms CKHT 2A and also CKHT 502.
So I need to sign all these documents. Is it only me or the vendor needs to do the same?
Oh, actually, the vendor will sign the same agreement and the same document as you. Where in fact, before you and the vendor sign the sale and purchase agreement, I will send the sale and purchase agreements to the vendor solicitor for him to check and vet it. And after that, upon his approval of the agreement and all the documents, he will get the vendor to sign and execute the sale and purchase agreement and all the documents, and I will do the same for you.
Wow, okay. It seems like a lot of procedure. Can you just email me all the relevant documents so that I can sign and forward it back to you? Because I don't think I can settle this before my departure to China next week.
Well, supposedly, miss, I will need to be the one that doing the attestation of your signing. Because I will need to verify that it is a true signature of yours. However, because you're going to China next week, and in case you are not in Malaysia, the attestation can be made by the Commissioner of Oath or the embassy in China.
That's great. So what's next? So Miss Myra, after the execution and attestation of the document, so now we'll move on to the next process, which is stamping. The document need to be produced to the stamp office, or known as LHDN, for stamping in accordance with Stamp Act 1949. But may I know how much should I pay for the stamp duty?
According to the item 32 of the first schedule of Stamp Act 1949, you should pay for 8,000. Stamp duty must be paid within 30 days from the date of execution or on the date when the document was first received in Malaysia. There is an existing charge taken by the vendor, Mr. Azali. Since you plan to pay by cash, I will instruct the vendor solicitor to obtain redemption statement from the vendor bank. The redemption amount here simply means that the outstanding amount owned by the vendor to his bank. The vendor solicitor will then forward the issued redemption statement to me, and upon I receive the issued redemption statement from the vendor solicitor and balance purchase price from the purchaser, I will make payment of the redemption sum to the vendor's bank, and at the same time, upon receiving the redemption sum, the bank will then instruct its solicitor to prepare a discharge of charge.
Discharge of charge? May I know what is that?
Discharge of charge here is a dealing document known as Form 16N, provided under Section 278 of the NLC, and the Form 16N will be sent for stamping. The stamping fee is under Item 59 of the first schedule of Stamp Act 1949, where the amount is 10 ringgit. After stamping, the Form 16N will then, together with the duplicate charge and the original title deed, be presented for registration. Once registered, the charge in favor of the bank is cancelled, and the said property is now free from any encumbrance. Next step is I will lodge a private caveat on the land once payment of the redemption has been made to protect your interest before registration of transfer is done in the RTT. A caveat is entered using Form 19B, which is duly completed, executed and attested as stated under Section 323 Subsection 2 of NLC. And then, together with the Form 19B, a statutory declaration must be prepared. Okay, since you have paid 20% of the as a deposit, you already satisfy Section 323 Subsection 1 Paragraph A. Once you have executed the SPA, which means you are in the process of claiming title, and Section 323 Subsection 3 also requires you to pay fees for the registration or entry of the caveat. Once the land office receives Form 19B, together with the prescribed fees, the registrar then will lodge the caveat, and it will affect it by way of the endorsement on the RTT. Next process, I will prepare and submit Form RTGT 2A to inform Inland Revenue Board on the date and price of his acquisition of the land. Besides, I will also need to prepare and submit Form CKHT 502 together with the retention sum collected from the vendor in accordance with Section 21 capital B of RTGT Act.
How much will it be for the retention sum?
Since you are a local, the retention sum would be 3% of the purchase price, which would be 3%, which would be 13,500. I need to remit the payment of the retention sum within 60 days from the date of SPA. Upon receipt of the full balance purchase price, I will then send the memorandum of transfer for adjudication at the stamp duty office.
What is the adjudication process?
So this process involves of sending documents to stamp duty office in order to obtain the amount of stamp duty payable on the MOT. So the documents that involved in this process are: the first one is MOT, second is PDS 15 form, third is a copy of sale and purchase agreement, and lastly is the title deed. So we need to send all of these documents to stamp duty office, and then we will get a notification or known as a notice taksiran, and this notice taksiran consists of the amount of stamp duty payable on the MOT. So we need to pay the amount of stamp duty within 1 month after we get the notification.
After that process, anything else I need to do?
Yes, Miss Mariam, but don't worry, you're almost there. Final land search will need to be conducted, and then presentation for a registration of dealings documents at the land office needs to be carried out as stated in section 292, subsection 1 of NLC.
What are the relevant documents that need to be presented for registration?
The relevant documents that need to be presented are first is the MOT, second is Form 19G, Form 16N, Form 14A, the original IDT, the sale and purchase agreement, and consent letter and quit rent receipt together with the registration fees. After presentation for registration is perfected, the payment of the full balance purchase price may be made in favor of the vendor, Mr. Azali.
I know when's the presentation date will be?
The presentation date is deemed to be the date of registration unless the MOT is rejected. Therefore, I will forward the payment for the balance of the purchase price, and reference is made to the presentation date and folio.
Oh, okay. So does that mean I can get the house key once I make a full payment?
Yes, definitely. It can be done between the parties. So Miss Mariam may make an arrangement with Mr. Azali to hand over the key once the full payment is made to his solicitor.
Oh, that's not gonna be a problem since Mr. Azali is a very easy person to deal with. Is that all?
Well, if there is any, Miss Mariam will need to apportion any payment of the quit rent and assessment rent or payment relating to the property. Upon receipt of the IDT, I will forward the same to Miss Mariam. And finally, we can close the file after all of the steps have been completed.
Thank you so much.